Hey everyone, and welcome back to my channel. Now, today's case is one that I actually asked about on my Instagram story, and it was between this one and Jack the Ripper, and most people voted Jack the Ripper. But once I got into researching the Jack the Ripper case, which I actually did, I have like a book, which sounds super weird. I started researching it and it was taking forever. Like, I didn't quite realise how much time serial killer cases take to research. So I will be doing that case, but I just don't know when. Now, without further ado, let's get into today's case. So, JonBenét Patricia Ramsey was born August 6, 1990. At the time of her death, she lived in Boulder, Colorado, with her mum Patsy, her dad John, and her older brother Beck, who was 9 at the time of her death.
What's your favorite color? And what's your favorite food you like to eat? What do you want to be? Veterinarian?
So I don't think it's like as much of a big thing in England. I don't know a single person that's done pageants in England, but in America, beauty pageants were a huge thing, and JonBenét was actually a child beauty queen. On December 26, 1996, Patsy went downstairs to make herself a coffee. It was about 5:30 in the morning, and on the back staircase of the house, she discovered a ransom note. The note said, "Mr. Ramsey, listen carefully. We are a group of individuals that represent a small foreign faction. We respect your business, but not the country that it serves. At this time, we have your daughter in our possession. She is safe and unharmed, and if you want her to see in 1997, you must follow our instructions to the letter. You will withdraw $118,000 from your account. $100,000 will be in $100 bills and the remaining $18,000 in $20 bills. Make sure that you bring an adequate size attaché to the bank. When you get home, you will put the money in a brown paper bag. I will call you between 8 and 10 a.m. tomorrow to instruct you on delivery. The delivery will be exhausting, so I advise you to be rested. If we monitor you getting the money early, we might call you early to arrange an earlier delivery of the money and hence an earlier pickup of your daughter. Any deviation of the instructions will result in the immediate execution of your daughter. You will also be served her remains for proper burial. The two gentlemen watching over your daughter do not particularly like you, so I advise you not to provoke them. Speaking to anyone about your situation, such as police, FBI, etc., will result in your daughter being beheaded. If we catch you talking to a stray dog, she dies. If you alert bank authorities, she dies. If the money is in any way marked or tampered with, she dies. You will be scanned for electronic devices, and if any are found, she dies. You can try to deceive us, but be warned that we are familiar with law enforcement countermeasures and tactics. You stand a 99% chance of killing your daughter if you try to outsmart us. Follow our instructions and you stand a 100% chance of getting her back. You and your family are under constant scrutiny as well as the authorities. Don't try to grow a brain, John. You are not the only fat cat around, so don't think that killing will be differently. Don't underestimate us, John. Use that good southern common sense of yours. It is up to you now, John. Victory." And it's signed SBTC. So just a few things about the note is that the amount that they stated that they wanted, which was $118,000, was scarily close to John's bonus the year before. So the family thought that someone that knew John and knew about his bonus might have been behind the letter. Police looked into all the employees at John's work, but they couldn't find anything suspicious. Another thing is that the note was actually written inside the Ramsey home using a pen and paper from inside the house. The FBI made a point of saying that this was very unusual, especially since it was such a long note, and why would they write it inside the house? Like, surely that's just running the risk of getting caught. The police believe that the note was staged as it held no fingerprints other than Patsy's and the authorities that had handled the note. The note itself is just very weird. Like, it includes a lot of detail about who they are. Why would you want someone to know that? If you're writing a ransom note, surely you'd want to remain as anonymous as possible. So handwriting tests were done on this letter and they ruled out John Ramsey completely, but Patsy Ramsey's results came back as inconclusive. So after reading this note, Patsy called the police at 5:52 a.m. and 3 minutes later, 2 officers arrived at the house. They did a search of the house to look for any forced entry or anything. They couldn't find anything. One of the officers actually went downstairs to the basement where he saw a door that was covered by a wooden latch, and he kind of thought about going in, but then he didn't because he thought, well, no one could have got out of there because of the fact that the wooden latch was still on the door. So upstairs, John was making arrangements to pay the ransom money, and a forensics team was sent to the house. So because the team originally thought that this was a kidnapping, the only room in the house that had been boarded off for evidence was JonBenét's room. By this point, Patsy and John had actually told people, so like friends of the family and victim advocates and stuff were coming over, and they were like picking things up off surfaces and cleaning and basically contaminating the full crime scene. Like the only room that was protected was JonBenét's room. The rest of the house was just like people were just coming in and moving things that could have been evidence. So Boulder detective Linda Ann came over to the house about 8 a.m. because the note said that they will call between 8 and 10 to kind of like arrange the delivery of the money. At 1 p.m, the detective asked John and a family friend to search the house on their own to see if anything seemed amiss. They actually first started to search the basement and went into the room with a wooden latch that the detective had missed earlier on. In there, John found the body of JonBenét Ramsey, his daughter. JonBenét's mouth was covered with duct tape and she had a cord around her neck and was covered by a white blanket. He actually picked her body up and took it upstairs, which obviously massively contaminated the crime scene. But then he has just found the body of his daughter. Like, I don't think that's the first thing on his mind at that point. They did an autopsy and it was revealed that JonBenét died of strangulation and had a skull fracture. She had been strangled with a garrote made of nylon cord and the bottom half of a paintbrush. The bristle end of this paintbrush was actually found in Patsy's art supplies in the days following the murder. The autopsy also revealed that a vegetable or fruit material that could be pineapple was actually found in JonBenét's system. Photos taken at the crime scene actually showed a bowl of pineapple on the side of one of the kitchen counters with a spoon in it. However, John and Patsy don't remember ever feeding JonBenét pineapple or anyone eating pineapple that day. The bowl was tested for prints and they actually found the fingerprints of her 9-year-old brother Burke on the bowl. The Ramseys have always said that Burke slept through the entire night and didn't wake up until hours after the police had arrived. In December 2003, forensic experts actually were able to put together a DNA profile from a sample found on JonBenét's underwear, and it was a male DNA but that didn't belong to any of the Ramseys. It is worth noting that DNA like that can come from other places. Like if they were new, then someone in the factory could have contaminated them. Like it's not necessarily anything dodgy. The DNA was submitted to Curtis and it didn't match anyone in that database. Now let's get into the theories about what happened to JonBenét, and there are some very interesting ones. So one theory is that Patsy actually killed JonBenét after she had wet the bed, and Patsy had just hit her in like a moment of rage and then tried to strangle her and hide the body to cover up what happened. However, Patsy just wasn't really the type. She didn't have a history of like anger, and Burke in an interview after JonBenét's death said that they never got smacked, they never kind of fought or anything like that. Like there was nothing to kind of suggest that this would have happened. Another popular theory, and one that I know personally a lot of people believe, is that Burke actually killed his sister. He was interviewed at least 3 times and child psychologists said that there was nothing amiss. He wasn't hiding anything, and it appeared that the Ramseys had healthy, caring relationships. I know a lot of people think that Burke did it and that the parents covered it up to make it look like a kidnapping, and I mean, Patsy was inconclusive on writing the note and Burke's fingerprints were found on that pineapple bowl. There's like a few things that made me think, oh, JonBenét stole some pineapple and then Burke killed her.
I remember the casket was small and her eyes were closed. I think one of her eyes was a little bit like droopy or something. I thought that was weird.
How did you feel seeing her?
A lot of sadness. I don't think I really fully grasped, like, after this I won't see her again.
Now, in the crime scene, there was actually an unidentified boot print found near the body, which makes police think that it was an outside intruder. John Metcalf was a 41-year-old school teacher who was arrested in Bangkok in 2006 after he confessed to killing JonBenét. He claimed that he had drugged, assaulted and then accidentally killed her. However, he kind of only stated things that were public knowledge about the case. He never really went into any detail. Also, the DNA found at the scene didn't match up to John. Another theory is that the Ramsey's housekeeper, Linda Pugh, who worked there with her husband Mervyn, actually killed JonBenét. Linda actually thought that Patsy was responsible, and then Patsy turned around and said that Pugh had requested money from the Ramseys, like she needed a loan of thousands and thousands of dollars, which the Ramseys denied. I don't really know if I'm saying her last name right. I mean, I hope I am, but I'm sorry if I'm not. She didn't have a credible alibi, which made her a massive suspect, and she also knew the way around the house and she knew the family's schedules. However, all evidence against Linda has just been circumstantial. There's nothing directly linking her to the case. Another theory is the town Santa, who's called Bill McReynolds, and he actually dressed up as Santa for like events and stuff around the town. The week before the murder, McReynolds had actually been at a Christmas gathering dressed as Santa, where JonBenét was too. It's kind of said that he paid quite a lot of attention to JonBenét and even picked her to be his special friend. Now, JonBenét had actually given him like a vial of glitter, and he actually brought this to his heart surgery and said to his wife before he went in that if he was to die, he wanted this glitter to be mixed with his ashes. That's just weird. I mean, that doesn't make him guilty, but that is very strange. Again, there is no evidence to directly link him to the murder. On that night, there had been 2 basement windows left open so that the Christmas light could go through, and a broken basement window and an unlocked door. The police's theory was that someone entered through this basement door and murdered JonBenét. However, this theory has been wildly criticised because there was actually cobwebs in all of these places, like intact, and there was also dust and debris everywhere that had not been disturbed. Like if someone climbed through the window, it would have been disturbed. So that concludes today's case. Now, I'm not actually going to say who I think did it because I don't want to catch a lawsuit, but I don't think it was an outsider personally. If you want to leave your theories down below, then please do. I always like to read them because everyone's got different ideas about what happened. As usual, if you could give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel, I would really appreciate it. And I will be doing the Jack the Ripper case soon. I've got a massive list of cases, and this one is by far the biggest that I need to kind of do a lot of research on. So just bear with me, but I will be doing it. And any feedback, as always, is very welcome. So thanks guys, and I'll see you next week.